Just before the summit. In Hong Kong, the summit was to begin on Tuesday morning, November 27. He was to talk on Wednesday, November 28. Robin. Lovell-Badge gives some background on the timing of and reason for his speaking role. A month or so before the Second International Summit on Human Genome Editing took place, several of us on the organizing committee heard rumors that He Jiankui. We knew that JK had presented relevant work, involving genome editing in mouse and monkey embryos, at meetings over the last couple of years, and that he had also started using the methods on human embryonic stem cells and human embryos in culture. However, there was concern that he felt he was in a position to try things for real, to make genome-edited human babies. We also heard rumors that JK had obtained local ethics committee approval to go ahead. Therefore, when we were deciding on additional speakers for the summit, JK's name came up. Although we were aware that he had not published in this area, he had clearly been doing relevant research, and we thought it might be useful for him to attend the summit where the science, safety, ethics and regulatory issues surrounding genome editing would be discussed. We sent him an invitation and he responded almost immediately to say that he would be very happy to present. As the organizing committee gathered in Hong Kong on Monday morning, they arrived to the news about his experiment. For at least one of them, that news had come a little earlier. The email had the subject line, "Babies born." Doudna was quoted saying, "I was just horrified. I felt kind of physically sick." And again, saying, "Honestly, I thought, this is fake, right? This is a joke," she recalls. Babies born. Who puts that in a subject line of an email of that kind of import? It just seemed shocking, in a crazy, almost comedic, way. Doudna says as a result she changed her travel plans and left a day earlier for Hong Kong. She had arrived in Hong Kong on the morning of Friday, November 23, late Thursday night or early Friday morning for Doudna in California. She found an email from Doudna waiting for her, asking, urgently, if they could talk. Over the next few days, Mazza, Doudna, Altacharo, who was also in Hong Kong early, and, by phone, Baltimore, talked about how to handle the He news, including how to inform the other members of the organizing committee. Lovell-Badge, for example, says Mazza contacted him on late Sunday afternoon, November 25, asking for an urgent meeting. Doudna arrived in Hong Kong Monday morning, about the same time He Jiankui had made the 90-minute drive from his lab in Shenzhen. The nanosecond I landed at the airport, I had just a ton of emails from JK. Desperate. "I have to talk to you right now. Things have really gotten out of control," recall. She went to Le Méridien Hotel, where he was also staying, and checked in without immediately replying. He actually had somebody come and pound on my hotel door. Sometime that morning Doudna and Lovell-Badge met briefly with he in the hotel lobby. Remember, the Regalato article broke at about 8:15 a.m. in Hong Kong and the AP story no later than 10:48 a.m. According to the same article in Science. When Doudna finally sat down with he in the hotel lobby on the morning of the 26th of November, a few hours after the news of the babies broke, the Ch. He even asked her whether he should discuss the gene-edited babies in his talk. "It was bizarre," she says. "He seemed so naive." Stat gives more of Doudna's response. Doudna replied, "You've dropped this shocking news on the world, right before our summit, and you're not planning to mention it?" He seemed surprised that she expected him to, but agreed to have dinner with her and other members of the summit organizing committee that evening to talk it out. At some time that morning, after the initial lobby meeting with he, Lovell-Badge and some other early arriving organizing committee members met to discuss how to handle the he bombshell. Should he present his work? How could they handle the he affair without letting it overwhelm the rest of the meeting? And whether and how to deal with the press about it before the meeting. They collectively took the decision that, assuming JK was still willing to talk, he should be encouraged to present at the summit. At some time that morning, after the initial lobby meeting with he, Lovell-Badge and some other early arriving organizing committee members met to discuss how to hand. Should he present his work? How could they handle the he affair without letting it overwhelm the rest of the meeting? And whether and how to deal with the press about it before the meeting. They collectively took the decision that, assuming JK was still willing to talk, he should be encouraged to present at the summit. On the eve of the International Summit on Human Genome Editing in Hong Kong, China, last week, he, a researcher at nearby Southern University of Science and Technology. The news of he's claim had just broken, and shockwaves were starting to reverberate. But the reports were still so fresh that the diners sat in the restaurant without being disturbed. He arrived almost defiant, says Jennifer Doudna, who did landmark CRISPR work at the University of California, UC, Berkeley. She and the other conference organizers politely asked he questions about the scientific details and rationale of his work, the permissions he had secured to conduct it, and how he recruited hopeful parents to participate and informed them about risks. He asked them whether his planned talk 2 days later should include data about the twin girls, who had a gene altered to make them resistant to HIV infection. We were all like, yes, Doudna says. After more than an hour of questioning, he had had enough. He just seemed surprised that people were reacting negatively about this, Doudna says. By the end of the dinner he was pretty upset and left quite abruptly. A later Science article says, at a dinner with he later on the 26th of November, Doudna and other summit organizers lobbied for full disclosure. He agreed to describe his work in detail at his talk 2 days later, although he said he had received threatening text messages and had switched hotels for safety. Alta Charo, a bioethicist at the University of Wisconsin Law School in Madison, asked he whether he understood the importance of the principles spelled out in the 2 main documents that gave germline editing a yellow light of sorts. The 2017 NASEM, National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, NM. I absolutely feel like I complied with all the criteria, he said. That kind of rocked me back, Charo says. Ultimately, the organizing committee decided that he would give his scheduled talk on the second day of the summit, Wednesday, November 28, as part of a panel called Human Embryo Editing, moderated by Robin Lovell-Badge and including presentations from Kathy Niakan, Paula Amato, Maria Jasson, and the first 4 would speak, answer questions, and leave the stage. Then he would appear and would be the last to speak. The organizing committee released a statement at around 1 p.m. Est on Monday, November 26. In Hong Kong, that was about 2 a.m. Tuesday, November 26. The starting day for the summit, presumably after the dinner and just a few hours before the meetings start. The statement read, on the eve of the Second International Summit on Human Genome Editing, we were informed of the birth of twins in China whose embryonic genomes had been edited. The researcher who led the work, He Jinkui, is scheduled to speak at the summit on Wednesday. The criteria under which heritable genome editing clinical trials could be deemed permissible have been the subject of much debate and discussion by many research groups. Please support my channel to grow by pressing subscribe button and the bell icon. We will notify you technological news. Thank you.